What's up guys, it's Aaron from Rudy Visuals, and often people ask me what lens should I buy for my Canon camera. Should I get a prime lens? Should I get a zoom lens? Well, I think this is the only lens you'll ever need. So in today's video, I want to talk about basically what I think is the best general all-purpose lens. Basically, if you want to just carry one lens, you're maybe new to photography and like filmmaking, you're really confused about like all the different lens options there are out there. Well, don't worry, there is a solution. You can definitely get away with just having one lens, and this is it. So most cheaper like Canon DSLR cameras do come with like a typical kit lens. Usually it's like a 18 to 55mm lens. Now these are absolutely great if you're like learning, and you can definitely get some pretty decent results with them, but you will tend to find that as you progress, as you get better, you'll start to get like bottlenecked by the lens, especially because a lot of them they don't have particularly wide apertures and the image quality can be a little bit lacking. So a lot of people tend to buy prime lenses. Good examples are like the nifty 50 and the 85mm prime. There's also stuff like the 24mm pancake lens, and they're all great lenses. However, it can be really inconvenient to carry like 3 or 4 lenses in your bag at one time. So what if you just wanted to carry one lens? That's exactly what zoom lenses are for. So what makes them really great for like beginners is you're basically carrying 3 or 4 prime lenses in one neat package, and they can pretty much do everything you need it to do in a sort of jack of all trades kind of way. This is why I highly recommend picking up a 24 to 105mm focal length lens. Essentially, I consider it to be like a Swiss army knife of a lens because it can do everything well. Our recommendation is getting the older Canon 24 to 105 f4, and here are some reasons why this is such a great lens. So the first thing I want to talk about is the build quality. Now this is an L series lens and it was made in 2005 I believe, and it is built like an absolute tank. The plastics are really good quality plastics. It's got a metal mount, and because it's an L series lens, it is weather sealed, it's very durable, and you can really feel the difference in the build quality, especially when you compare it to some of the kit lenses that come in cheaper cameras. So this is an L series lens, you can tell by the red line around the ring. And basically, for those of you who don't know, the L series lens are Canon's premium professional grade level of lenses. So as long as you're getting it from like a reputable dealer or a good secondhand store, you know it's going to last you a good long time. So that brings me nicely onto my next point, which is the price. So we paid £400 for this lens, which is a secondhand price. We have seen it online for a lot cheaper, so if you shop around you can probably get it closer to £300 or £350. So it's actually a really cheap way of getting access to the L series range without breaking the bank. Now just to compare, there is a newer version of this lens, which is the 24 to 105 f4 L2 model, the Mark II, and that is £1,000. So 400 compared to £1,000, and the difference in the two lenses, there's not that much big of a difference between the two. There are also other lenses like the 24 to 105 f3.5 to 5.6. However, we didn't like the build quality of that lens very much. We have used it before in previous photo shoots. Also, the image quality when you zoomed in and out, it wasn't a fixed aperture, so it's really annoying how as you zoomed in, the actual aperture would change. Whereas this has a fixed aperture, it stays at f4 if you keep it at f4, whether you're shooting at 24 or all the way to 105, it will stay at f4. So that's really handy. Now if you were to buy say like a 24, a 35, a 50, an 85, add all those prime lenses up together, that's going to cost you way more than just buying one zoom lens. So again, that's going to help you save money as well, especially if you're starting up. You're going to figure out very quickly that photography is a pretty expensive hobby. So anything that's going to save you money is great. Now the main reason why this lens is so great is basically you have 4 or 5 or 6 different focal lengths all in one neat package. And that makes it so convenient for everyday running and gunning. So this makes it really convenient and incredibly versatile. So the wider end around 24mm is great for vlogging, great for like wide angle shots for landscapes, and towards the longer end around 85 to about 105, you start to get that really nice background compression, which means all that lovely bokeh. And everything in between. So basically if you're shooting wildlife, if you're shooting sports, if you're shooting portraits, it just basically does everything well. And again, that applies to video too, which basically leads to just one super convenient, nice package. So think about if you're traveling, if you have like 4 or 5 different lenses and you're constantly having to change the lenses depending on the situation, it can be really annoying, it can really drag you down, and it can weigh a lot as well. Just having that one lens in your camera, not having to worry about changing lenses all the time, it just makes it so much more enjoyable. You can just focus on the actual photography rather than focusing on the kit. So the next reason why I think this lens is great is because it comes with image stabilization. That means it's really useful for video. So that means you don't have to worry about like shaky camera footage, and it also means you can get away without having to carry like big heavy gimbals with you. Personally, I found that the IS in this particular lens works really well. It's a little bit noisy, you can hear the like mechanism working inside, but it's not too bad. So the final point why I think this is a great choice for beginners is because of the image quality. Now, it's not the most razor sharp lens I've ever used compared to something like, for example, the Sigma 18-35 that I've used quite a lot, but there are definitely sharper lenses out there. But if you're a professional photographer, you're probably not going to be spending £400 on the lens anyway. You're probably going to be spending upwards of like £2,000 or even £3,000. So for people on the other end of the spectrum, I think the image quality is more than decent enough. So for those reasons, this is why I think the 24-105 f4 is the perfect lens and the only lens you'll ever need. It might not be the only lens you'll ever want, but in terms of what you need, it pretty much covers everything and does it all reasonably well. So if you are new to photography, new to filmmaking, and you want to know what lens to get for your new camera, this is definitely what I would recommend. In fact, this was actually the kit lens that was paired with the Canon 5D Mark II, so even Canon thinks so. Bear in mind, if you do put it on a cheaper Canon camera, it's probably going to be a cropped sensor, which means it's not going to be 24-105, it's going to be more like a 38-170. That means you are going to lose some of that wide angleness, but you do gain on the other end more reach. All in all, the 24-105 is just such a convenient, great lens that I can't recommend it highly enough for people who are just starting out in photography. As much as we love prime lenses, we understand that not everybody needs super expensive glass, so that's why this is such a great choice. Anyway guys, that's gonna do it for now. As you can see, the sun is starting to set, so we're gonna end the video here. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you really enjoyed it and found it useful. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and YouTube. And I guess that's gonna do it for now. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section below. Give us a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.